Hello everyone, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Roccat Vulcan 2 Mini Air. This is the newest wireless keyboard from Roccat. This one is a 65% layout that uses Titan 2 optical switches and comes in both linear and tactile variants. The version that we have today is the linear variant, and this keyboard is $180. For that $180 in today's video, obviously we're going to be talking about what you get for that amount of money and if this keyboard is worth it. Quite frankly guys, I'm not going to take too long explaining this keyboard because we have looked at other Vulcan keyboards in the past on this channel, and I will leave some of those reviews link in the description below if you want to check them out a little bit more in depth. Now what's cool about the Roccat Vulcan 2 series of keyboards is that they have this dual LED technology where basically, let's say that we use the function button. This is going to give you the best example. There's an LED at the bottom of each switch as well as an LED at the top of each switch that gives you that RGB effect. And basically this is kind of cool because if you do have any of these secondary functions in use, it will light up that secondary LED so that you are aware of what's going on with your keyboard. If I had to give this keyboard one singular weakness, it would definitely be the keycaps. These are laser edge ABS keycaps, and quite frankly they kind of suck, and I wish that Roccat would have changed over to a double shot PBT keycap. That would have been a lot better. I know that this is supposed to be like a super thin and low profile keyboard, and it probably would be a little hard or expensive to develop some double shot PBT keycaps with the shine through capability with nice texture as well. But this keyboard is also $180. So I think that that is something that we should be getting for $180 is higher quality keycaps. Now granted, this keyboard is compatible with third-party keycaps, and we're gonna be trying that out later on in the video. And we're gonna be doing a sound test as well to see how it sounds in stock configuration, as well as compared to using some third-party keycaps also. But basically, my only complaint with this keyboard is the quality of keycaps that they give you. As far as the other things and party tricks that this keyboard has, it does have a proximity sensor. So if I back away from the keyboard for a while, we can see that the RGB just dimmed a little bit, but then when I bring my hands closer, the RGB lights back up. Probably a little bit hard to see. Let me try and shut my lights off real quick to give you a slightly better example. And then we're gonna move my hand closer and boom, there we go. That is the effect that the proximity sensor gives. Basically, it's just gonna try to conserve some of your battery life when you're not using the keyboard or very close to it. And then once you bring your hands closer, the LEDs in the keyboard do get noticeably brighter so that you can continue to use and get all of your RGB goodness. But obviously, if you wanna go for the maximum of 240 hours of battery life, you're gonna wanna turn off the proximity sensor and also turn off your RGB. And that's gonna give you a really long battery life. But honestly guys, I pulled this keyboard out of the box. It had like 50% battery life. I've been using it for probably about 20 hours, and now it's down to about 24% battery life. And I've had the RGB maxed out, the proximity sensor on the default setting. The battery life on this thing is pretty good. Like, you're gonna easily be able to get at least a week or two out of this keyboard just based on your use. Here is the box of the Vulcan Mini Air. As we can see, we got wireless and Bluetooth capability. Wireless meaning you have a 2.4 gigahertz dongle, which is right here, which I think is pretty nice. Roccat labeled it and put the full name of the product on it too, so there's no confusing it. Nice part about the Roccat Vulcan Air as well is that you actually have a dedicated spot to place your dongle for your keyboard as well. So that's quite nice. I wish that all brands would do this when they come out with wireless keyboards, but you have your on-off switch there, USB Type-C switch there as well. And then you have 3 levels of adjustable height. So you have flat, slightly up, and then also the maximum setting for the maximum amount of height. So that's quite nice. Nice rubberized feet as well. Fully plastic build, so nothing really too crazy or overly premium, but basically paying that $180, you're getting that dual LED functionality and a solid wireless connection with these optical switches as well. All you have is just going to be your guide and your braided USB Type-C cable, and that is pretty much it for what comes inside of the box other than the keyboard. Basically, I don't think that this keyboard sounds bad, but I just don't love the way that the keycaps look and feel. The keycaps, as far as using them and the size does not bother me at all. But just the fact that these keycaps very easily collect hand oils and whatnot, they just are not my favorite. And this is probably the final thing that I would ask Roccat to change as far as the way that this keyboard looks. I think it looks great, the low profile nature and whatnot, but I'm sure there are some low profile PBT keycap options that are out there and they just need to find the right supplier. But basically, I think that that's some money that they should spend as far as development is concerned. And otherwise, I do think that the Vulcan 2 Mini Air is a great buy for $180 as long as you have your own keycaps to swap onto this bad boy. But let's see how it works out when we swap the keycaps and if we run into any issues. All right, guys, so we swapped the keycaps. I don't want to hear it, okay? I changed them to something that is glossy and not fingerprint resistant, but I've had these keycaps on the shelf for like 6 months and I was like, oh my God, this keyboard has dual LED functionality. I was like, this would be the perfect keycap set to show off. But Roccat, you guys didn't give us cool keycaps. Those are laser etched, lame, ABS plastic, fingerprint attractive, and oil collecting. These bad boys, at least they look cool. But jokes aside, these are Seaside keycaps from Lily Labs. I will have a link to them in the description below. I got mine from Kono's store. They were about 75 bucks. But yeah, for $75, I think that these keycaps look pretty cool. And if I turn them off, like you can kind of see the appeal. Like basically you got like this whole Miami vibe going on. Legends are pretty clean. The printing on top of the keycaps is pretty nice as well, and you can like feel it. So I don't know, it's just something a little bit different that I thought would be a little bit more unique from like using your typical GMK or double shot PBT keycaps. But yeah, these are pretty shiny, and like I wouldn't say that they collect oils. I do think that these are a little bit more oil resistant than the keycaps that Roccat uses standard, but I also think that this looks pretty cool with the RGB lights turned on. Let's do a quick sound test. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Drop a comment, let me know what you guys think of the Vulcan 2 Air. Also guys, I did lube the stabilizers just a tiny bit more, but the stabilizer tolerances were so tight that I wonder what effect it's gonna have, but hopefully that lube makes them slightly more smooth and a little bit more suppressed as far as the sound is concerned. But I wasn't really too worried about like the stabilizers rattling because they did a pretty good job. And again, the tolerances were pretty tight.